and it still only took 1:32. So again, I want to make this very clear. I think he's very, very good. I just don't want to oversell it. Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time to cover the buff for Red Skull. This was late in 2023. I was busy. I was traveling. I could not get to it, but I wanted to because I am very excited about this champion. And then now he's shown up in the game. We think he's going to be in the Titan Crystal. We don't know for sure, but it has definitely made me be like, I need to get this video out for a couple of reasons. All right. If you're like, hey, listen, I don't need to know all that. I want to see the fights. I want to see your tier list placement. There are timestamps in the description. You can jump straight to them. We're going to go over the abilities here quickly so we can get straight into that. And then of course we'll cover the awakened ability, the relic, and then extremely important in my opinion for Red Skull as you go about using him is going to be his synergies, and we will cover that as well too. Now, I am going to be very excited should I pull him. If he does come as a 7-star, I'm going to be excited about him, especially if I get him awakened. You're probably going to see me immediately rank 2 and put him in my Battlegrounds deck. I want to go over his abilities quickly so I can talk to you about just about what's going on, and then we'll get to those fights. So Red Skull is immune to a nullified fate seal and stagger effects from champions. That's really, really cool, but that's a big, like, okay, a lot of times we're also fighting the nodes, and some of those, especially like nullify and fate seal and stagger, well, all of them are things that we often face. Okay, so keep that in mind. This feels like, I feel like he's a PvP champion. We'll get to that more and more as we go. Against mutants, Red Skull's ability actually not be modified. Really, really cool, right? Domino, Magneto Red, that sort of thing. Okay, that's where that's coming into. The armor ups, he starts with 5. You use them kind of like a currency. You're gonna see this when you're the champion fills a bar of power. He gains 1. Happens quite a bit, and there is a kind of fun, kind of high skill, tricky way to play him that has a lot of power control. You'll see that. Not too much in this video, but in a lot of other videos, I'm sure. Overwhelming presence passive. So this is why I talked about the armor ups being a bit of a currency, though. Is they give you attack rate, they give you critical resistance, they give you energy resistance, and they also remove the or lower the opponent stun ability accuracy. I fight him every day in map 8 AQ, and he is not a fun fight. He is not a fun fight. This is a very good defender that you often want a counter for. But here's what I'm talking about: is when you then block a basic attack, you are going to consume one of those armor ups. It's really, really cool because it power drains 10% of the opponent's power. But then you're losing one of those armor ups, right? You're losing the benefit of all these things that we just talked about. You do really want those. None of them are massive on their own, but you'll see as we do these fights. The heavy attack can inflict a really nice heal block. I think that works really well with the Vision Relic, and we'll talk about it with the Synergy. The special one's going to get this auto block passive that can be helpful to you, but that's mainly a defensive issue if you've ever had to fight him. The big thing that happens with this is it's going to pause your shocks. You're going to do special 2 and special 1 with this guy. And then each hit does deal a burst of energy damage. I'm not going to say that it doesn't do anything on its own. It does. But here's kind of your money maker, your damage special. It's a special 2 on activation, and you're getting the unstoppable buff. It does a really nice job of allowing you to do those counter punch type charges, right? Like Killmonger showed us years and years and years ago. I'll show you that in the video here. But here's the big thing: is each hit is going to inflict a shock debuff over 6 seconds, and then remember on the SP1, you're going to be able to pause them. You can actually get quite a bit out of it. You'll see. Plus 1 second for each armor up. As I said, the armor up is a big currency. You want to hold on to them, but then you use them every time you armor or you block a hit, and then that's also a big part of your power control. So I almost feel like there's 2 different ways to play Red Skull with a little bit of a hybrid, which we'll also show. And then the special 3, which we're not going to show in this video because I just don't, you know, it is what it is. You drain 100% of the opponent's power for every 10% of max power drained this way. You're going to gain armor up. So this feels like a really nice reset. For some reason, you get pushed to it. I could see there being times where this is going to come across and it's going to look really cool, make some really cool YouTube videos, and you can have a lot of fun with it. And this is a game you should have fun. But practically, when I'm giving you advice, I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing this. All right, signature ability. Do you need an awaken? No, I don't think you do. For your general questing and things like that, and you synergize them and all that. But I think if you're going to use them in Battlegrounds, especially as a dual threat, you want to use them offensively and maybe even in war, I think this is going to be really, really helpful. While charging the heavy attack generates 7.5% power per second, I think that's cool. I mean, that's fine. I don't think that's going to make a material, like overly meaningful difference to you in your uses of him. I think it's the second bullet point, and this is just that initial awakening. Every 10th basic attack grants Red Skull 1 armor up. As we've talked about at length in this video, the armor up is a currency that you need and use to trigger so many of his abilities or get your attack rating up and things like that. So having it not just be whenever an opponent or whenever either of you crosses a bar of power, but also from your 10th basic attacks, I think is a really, really big deal. It's adding up, and as you saw in the video, it can really make him significantly more powerful. So that's why me personally, I think I would need this in order to rank to him immediately. And then in regard to his relic, you can definitely use him with the vision relic. This is a little bit more like if you're heal block based, as I'm going to talk about in the shorter fight. I actually could get that down a few seconds, and it was noticeable and was consistent if I used the Hulkbuster relic. So I think if you're going ultimately for damage and you don't need the heal block portion, and it's a smaller, shorter fight, you might have better success going directly with the Hulkbuster, but ultimately it's going to be up to your testing and which one you can have. I think they both work. It's just how kind of you're playing him and how you want to play him and what the fight is asking out of you. All right, let's get into these fights. Now, this is going to be the first one we'll take on the shorter Cyclops here, right? And one of the things I want to point out is that if Cyclops had like another 50,000 health, I don't think this fight would take that much longer. Like, don't add on 25% time. Let's go ahead and get into this and we can talk about it. Also, for all of these fights, Red Skull is essentially ascended. He's not technically ascended, but I do have a 20% champion boost. So 20% attack and health, similar to what Ascension would do. So here we go. We're going to go in, and then this is kind of one of the things I've really been talking about is the armor ups are they're a currency. You use them for your power draining, and so if you really wanted to spec into like collar tech and really play this, like just see that right there, we got the power drain, hit him over bar of power, and then try to get the parry so that he loses power, we power drain, but then that's using an armor up, but then when we send him back over the bar, we'll get another one. It's fun, and I think it can be really eye-opening, and I think it can be really cool, but it's a very high skill, and two, it is very AI dependent. When I tried to do that, I found that the AI could screw with me very, very badly. But here we go. We got to that SP2, we got our Unstoppable, allowing us to counterpunch, and you saw, this is why I said, even if Cyclops had 50, even maybe 60,000 health, this fight doesn't last that much longer because we went in with our SP1 and we paused those shocks. So yes, that took 40 seconds, but I really don't think, a 300,000 health would take, a 60-second fight. I really don't. So he can be good as a dual threat in battle. He's a very good defender and then has that offensive prowess here. So now we're at about 700,000 health. And here's what I want you to keep an eye on, is you can kind of look at like, all right, well, what Vega's saying that about a 300,000 health opponent. Well, think about how quickly we're going to get to this Cyclops with about 50% health here. So we're going in, we're landing our combos, we're getting our armor ups when we can, when the AI is willing to play ball with us. I'm going to parry, of course. The CCP AI has been really, really wonky, so that hasn't been helping things. But as you can see, with the awakened ability and all this, we're up to our 9 armor ups, and I want to get close to 3 bars of power as I can. Throw my striker, then throw the SP2, get the shocks up. And then now we're unstoppable, so thankfully AI just playing us, we can counter punch here. And I'm going to throw my SP1 to pause these shocks on. And look at what they're taking for. This is why I'm saying, like, this is why he's a good Battlegrounds dual threat. Really, definitely a defender that people need to have counters for, or want to have counters for. And then he can do this. And then look at that. We're already at 48% health, and our shocks still have 5. They're still ticking, and we've just paused them. So this is what I was saying, is like, if there was like a 400,000 health pool champion on the map that was basic like this, I think I could have really shown it, but you kind of got a sense for it here. And then we're going to get to pause them again. So we've got a lot of pauses up, and then we're finally going to lose. If we had landed that evade, maybe we could have gotten close. I don't think so. But we're finally going to lose our shocks, and he's down to 18% health. Remember, he had 700 health. So he's got the gas, he's got the power, he's got the ability to do the damage, as long as his ability set works for it, right? If there's like a nullify, or if there's a purify or something like that, yeah, he's gonna struggle. That's not what he's intended to do. Still be a good defender, but something for you to keep an eye on. And that's, again, where I think his synergies really come into play. If you want to use him, you're looking to quest and build teams with him and things like that. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at one other fight I did want to show. The heal block. Oh, and also that still only took 1:37 seconds. So it's not like it's bad. I want to make this clear. There's a reason why I like him so much, but I want to get this out to you, that why I like him is very specific. Okay. So now we're going to go and we're going to fight this Weapon X. And I think this fight also shows a little bit of like Not that his flow is bad, but I don't think his flow is amazing. Like, I would love to be able to refresh this heal block, because we're gonna end up in scenarios and situations where I'm utilizing my armor ups because I need to, because the fight's dictating it, but I also want to be refreshing my my heal block, right? Because Weapon X is just gonna be healing. So he's stopped being unstoppable unless he's heavy, so that's good. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna punish. And then because he's unblockable and all these things, we only have 4 armor ups. Again, this fight's going to go very, very well. I just want to point this all out to you because, you know, I want to help you guys use your resources. I want you to know what I really think. And here we are, right? If I love a champion, I want you to know I really love them. If I think they're good, I want you to know I think they're good. If I think they're okay, I want you to know that. So here we are, and we're going to be able to land our heal block. And right now, it doesn't look like the fight's going very well, right? We're having to kind of reset. So we're going to build back up to our SP2. And we're going to land that now. And now the fight's pretty much in hand. It took a while to set it up. There was some AI stuff. Maybe it could be played a little faster. It could. I'm not gonna say that it definitely couldn't. Maybe you'll figure out a way as you learn to use a champion really well. We always talk about that, right? The best champion to rank up is the champion you like best. But I just feel like he's not missing a little bit. I'm saying I think he's more of a defender who has some cool tools that can be used, and you can definitely get things done. And that's shown right here. I mean, I do think this was a very, very good buff. Brought him up, modernized him. Let's see how long that took, because this is about a 500,000 Weapon X that's healing a lot, and it still only took 1:32. So again, I want to make this very clear. I think he's very, very good. I just don't want to oversell it for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at his synergies, and then we're going to take a look at his placement in the tier list. All right, I want to talk about the synergies very quickly because I've referenced multiple times. I think they could be very, very powerful. I think it could be powerful more, definitely in questing, and I can kind of see why a lot of things weren't added into his kit offensively, because they're there in his synergy, and then if you remove them from the synergy, you create a whole bunch of other issues. But this Hail Hydra could obviously be very, very powerful, right? But if you're bringing in a champion to heal block and power control, I think you're probably already bringing in Punisher 2099. The big bads here, I think this is just kind of a nice one. It's this Cube Wielders here with the Overseer. This could be very, very powerful for the Overseer. And then for Red Skull, for some reason you need an armor break or something like that. A lot of his damage is coming off the shocks anyway, but I think if you get the armor break up, you know, this could be adding in some nice damage. Now, this is another one. This is what I'm talking about, is a lot of them are good for his synergy partners as well as him. So again, I can see why they did not want to mess with them. Making Crossbones immune to nullify and stagger, a very, very big deal for a champion who's gaining Furies and then depends on those Furies to reduce the ability, accuracy of who he is fighting. Some mortal rulers with the Immortal Abomination. Again, when I saw this, I was like, yeah, I would have loved this in Red Skull's kit. I get why they didn't change it, because this would be really nice for Immortal Abomination. And then if you want to bring in Red Skull, the final hit of the special one attack refreshes all personal heal block debuffs on the opponent. Think about how nice that would have been in the Weapon X fight, right? Or just anytime you're really using that, you're reusing your special one over and over anyway to refresh these shocks. So that would really play into his flow, so you're not having to stop and then land your heavy to get the heal block up. Kind of plays into his flow a lot, which is kind of part of what why I'm just wanting to make all this really clear to everyone. Again, another synergy here with Omega Red, an incredibly, incredibly powerful war and sometimes questing champion. Each hit of the special one invalidates one prowess. This is something that's very common in current day tech champions. As they go in against mutants, would allow him to be helpful. Wouldn't allow him to block unblockables, but getting those prowess down would be significantly helpful as he goes in and attacks those mutant champions. And then this is a very powerful synergy for Diablo. Often Kingpin is sent along, who's obviously incredibly powerful as well. But then this would actually provide 10% shock debuff potency. When you saw he's getting, was it those 5 shocks, then you're able to continue to pause them. You can see how this could really add up. So again, his synergies are very powerful, and then his synergy partners are also very powerful. It makes a lot of sense to me why these things were not added directly into his kit. If you want them, you can use them, you can get them, you can access them, and then they didn't need to change these synergies that are really beneficial to champions that many of us love playing. All right, and let's go and take a look at his placement on the tier list. And you can see he comes in at the bottom of the top shelf. Doing this video really allowed me to go through and kind of take a look at all of his abilities again. And his flow and honestly his champion abilities kind of did come down just a little bit. If you saw the January iteration of this, he was up there more like Cap American, Sam Wilson, and Ultron. Now he's still very, very good, and this is what I was talking about. I gave him the 3 chilies because I wanted to catch your eye. I did want you to know, like, hey, if I get him, and I see Vega is super excited about him, but it's very specific in reason. If you remove the battlegrounds, right? And thanks to the spreadsheet wizards for this amazing spreadsheet that we update monthly. It's going to be in every single tier list for you to use, and you'll be able to check these boxes yourself. If you remove battlegrounds, he moves down a tier, and I think that's right. I really do. I kind of feel like he's similar to Mysterio. There's a very problematic defender. They're going to stall you. They're often going to need specific counters. And then you could also turn around and use them offensively. They have the same thing about ability accuracy, not being able to reduce. Actually, Mysterio, I think it's in general. But with Red Skull, it is against mutants, so you can use them for a Domino, who we all hate fighting, right? We all look for that, for someone who can fight her well. And then he's going to be able to take other champions as well. In fact, he's probably a little quicker than Mysterio. But if you have Battlegrounds back in the rankings, he moves right back up. And just like Mysterio, can really clear content for you and things like that. It's just you really need to know what you're doing. And I don't think he's quite as good as the champions listed above him at clearing that content. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think we got right. Let me know what you think we got wrong. And if he's in that Titan Crystal and you pulled him, let me know. Let me know. I think he's going to be very, very powerful as a 7-star. And like I said, if I pull him, you'll see me be very, very excited about it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.